I've never read the manga, and I haven't seen the original anime. Anyone who wants that to be their argument for why I should hate this show, please leave now. Maybe I'll check these things out, maybe I won't, but I am here right now to talk about this 12-episode season of Berserk. So I want everyone to remember that when we go into this, because I'm going to be straight up. This series is freaking awesome! Berserk is the 2016 second season to one of the most popular mangas of all time. I'm not kidding. There are legions of fans who love this series, loved the 1997 series, and have been waiting for a continuation, waiting for the general masses to get a chance to see this series brought to life in the form of beautiful Japanese animation. And after 12 episodes, boy were they frickin' pissed. That's right, people. This series, I don't know how people are going to look back on it in the future, but this series was not well received when it came out at the beginning of the summer 2016 season. But I mean, look at it. How could it? It's got to appease the manga fans. It's got to figure out a way to catch up on almost 20 years of story. It's got to figure out a way to get everything on track in a way that works in a cohesive narrative and still attract a general audience and, oh yeah, be good? Like, that's crazy! Like, this series had a huge undertaking to take, and as far as I'm concerned, it did it really well. And I know it's pretty early to talk about negatives, but I feel like I should definitely address the elephant in the room, and that is the animation of the series before all else, because everything else is going to be pretty positive about this series, and that is the animation is not good. So basically, for those of you who haven't heard, and how you couldn't have is beyond me, they decided to use CGI, a predominant CGI base for this series, as opposed to hand-drawn or just doing the 2D on a computer, which is more common nowadays, unfortunately. This 3D CGI base is apparently used in, like, movies they did to get people caught up on the story from the 97 series, but the thing is, this animation looks very video gamey. And I'm not going to lie, when I first saw the promo for this show, I thought I was watching a video game commercial. And unfortunately, that hurts a lot more than it should. CGI can be very scary when it wants to be. But the problem is that this show doesn't have the time or the budget to do a DreamWorks or a Pixar level animation quality. So the thing is, what we get is an attempt to bring the 2D anime style into a CGI 3D setting. And though I appreciate the balls to the wall attempt, the problem is that Japanese anime works best when it can have total control by the animators to control the crazy expressions, the wacky action scenes, the angles that can flat out ruin or make a show. All of these things need to be in the control of someone with a pencil. And the thing is, when you're just plugging it into a computer, and I know CGI takes a lot of work, I'm not taking that out of it, and there is some really great visuals in this show. Like it or not, there is always going to be that disconnect because these characters are not emoting at the level I know they should, and they can't because they move like they have 6-foot sticks up their asses. But for all of that is, and normally, I'm the kind of guy, bad animation can ruin a show for me, but the thing is that the story and the characters in this show are so good, I don't even care. Also, they do this really weird thing, and they do it more as the show goes on, where they will cut from using CG to flat-out hand-drawn for like a minute or two, and this becomes more prevalent and is done more as the series goes, and man, is it distracting. Because the thing is that you finally get me okay with the CGI animation style at a standpoint, and then you start changing it to what this show could be, and honestly, it's jarring, it's confusing, and at some points, it was literally done back and forth so much, I got a literal headache. So the thing is that the animation is bad, and if you were pissed off that you get this lame CGI, I get that. But the thing is, this is one of those rare situations where what is present in here just makes up for everything. So what's our story then? Because now we're in almost pure positive. Well, the story is you got this guy named Guts. Guts is a behemoth of a man, and he is known as the Black Swordsman. He has a sword that's about as big as he is, hugely heavy, insanely hard to maneuver, but he's able to make it work. And he is on a very simple journey. He just wants to stop a bunch of demons, so that way he can make a good life for him and his woman Casca. And the thing is, when I realized this was the simplicity of our premise, I was like, okay. Like, the thing is, everything, and I've said this multiple times before, everything feels the need to be so overly complicated and overly philosophical and overly all this in today's world that to get something this simple was almost shocking at a certain point, because at a certain point I realized Guts doesn't want to save the world. Okay, he does, but he's not doing it for redemption. He's not doing it for humanity's sake. He's got no big philosophical course. He just wants to make a good life for him and his lady, and I really like that. And at first, I thought I wasn't going to like Guts. First couple episodes, he's kind of emo and kind of, I'm a loner, loner's gotta be alone, and all that stuff. But after a certain point, like I said, when I realized this was simplicity of our plot, I like what this guy's about. He really is just a simple, straightforward, what you see is what you get dude, and I really liked that. For as gruff and tough he was very relatable, and I really enjoyed his character. Not much else to talk about among the other characters. You have your standard fare. Casca, fair warning, is actually mentally ill. She's crazy due to what happened in previous arcs. I don't know if she ever gets better in the manga, but the thing is, because of this, you don't really get a lot from her, which pretty much means it's the Guts show. There are other characters, but it's pretty much all him all the time. And again, it works because the story is good, the character's good, and the action, again, even though it's that CGI, still looks freaking badass. And I still really liked it a lot. The story itself is also really good because it goes into things like religion and faith and what makes us stronger and all that, but it never beats you over the head with anything. Everything just feels like this makes sense for this world to be in. And this world too, it is harsh, it is dangerous, it is unforgiving, but I could not look away. It is so immersive, it is played up, even though it's a fantasy world with demons, it is played up to the point where it does feel very real. And that is what I liked about it, was that it brought so much to the story, and it brought so much to everything. Every episode, I'm just at the end of my seat to the unique designs of monsters and demons and weird egg people in this. I just could not get enough of it. I loved this series. Wasn't my favorite of the season. I'd probably give it like third best or something, but just a really well done, really well made series. Again, the animation is a low point, and I didn't always care for the way certain characters were used. Also, at a certain point, Guts is unbeatable, and it kind of does get a little old to see him always find a way to succeed with no help. But again, it's a really great series. I highly recommend you check it out. Oh, and the last thing, the connections between this and the 97 series, very hard to handle. Again, almost 20 years have gone by, but they handle it in a very interesting way, and it does get a little awkward, especially because the OP for this show is just sort of showing imagery from the show in like an updated animation style. But I love the way it informs you on Guts' life through what almost feels like PTSD, like this is a man suffering and in pain and just trying to do whatever it can. I almost do want to check out the manga because I did love the way this series represented everything so much. I can't wait to see what happens next spring, and I am super excited for Berserk, and I really think it should be checked out, and it should be judged as its own thing, and simply that. Well, what did you think? In the comment section below, give me your thoughts on Berserk 2016. What was your favorite anime of the season? And if you're okay with more CGI and animation, or if you prefer us to go back to the days of pure hand-drawn. And as always, click to like and click to subscribe so we can see where everything goes from here.